This conference will now be recorded.
All right, friends. So today is day 20, and we are left with hardly few sessions, few topics. So today we'll start with single sign-on. So what is single sign-on? Uh, like daily basis, you people access shopping portals, you people access LinkedIn, any site. Somewhere you see login using Google, like LinkedIn. We have an option to log in using Google. If you access any shopping portal like jabong.com, anything, eBay, Amazon, anything, Flipkart, everywhere you have an option. If you have not registered there, it allows you to log in as an existing user, right, who has valid credentials on some other site, like login using Facebook. So if I open Flipkart, if I want to, if I don't want to register, then I have one button, and then on the button I can click login using Facebook, and I'll be in. In this case, login using Facebook button. So Facebook is the identity provider and Flipkart is the service provider. I am going to access Flipkart to order the items, but Flipkart is not authenticating me. Who is authenticating? Facebook. Similarly, for LinkedIn, login using Google. LinkedIn is the service provider. Why? Because I am going to access the services of LinkedIn. Login using Google. Google would be the identity provider in this case. Single sign-on in ServiceNow is all about that. To access ServiceNow, I hit the URL, I put in the username and password, and then I can access the instance. I can access all the forms, right? But then, what if I don't want ServiceNow to access? See, whatever authentication happens, like let me show you over here, like this. When I hit the URL, simple, it will ask me for username and password. I'll put it. I'll click on login button, and then it will check in the user form whether this is a valid user and the password is correct or not, and then it's done. Here, who is authenticating by default? ServiceNow, because it is presenting its login page. Okay, but then suppose we don't want to enter this username and password every time. If I hit ServiceNow URL like this, it it should not prompt me for username and password. The experience should be some third party authenticator should present its login page. Now when I say third party identity provider, it can be anything. There are several authenticators in the market. Identity providers, Azure AD is one of them, commonly used. Okta is commonly used. SSO Circle is there. It can be anything. So it will provide its authentication page, login page, when I hit this URL. It will redirect to the login page of the identity provider. I'll put the username and password I have. I'll click on login, and then it will take me to ServiceNow. ServiceNow user ID, password, that login page will never appear until we disintegrate that IDP, identity provider. How do we implement it? Ours is not a company currently. We are having an online session. We are not into any organization currently. So we won't be able to see a real-time example of it. But then I have tried to simulate the experience so that you people can understand what is single sign-on. Uh, Identity provider we have to purchase, but as I said, we are not in a company. What I did, this thing, SSO Circle. When you go to Google and type like this, SSO Circle. It will show all these things. You don't have to download anything. See over here, SSO Circle. You have to register using your user ID and password. See, register. And as I have a valid set of credentials over here, it is displaying this. I'm already logged in over here. See, let us close the duplicate one. So during registering, when I register, I gave the user ID as this. I gave my first name, last name. I gave my email ID. This is a dummy identity provider, assume, which is going to present its login page when I hit ServiceNow URL. The key thing is by default, it identifies the user using email. These are by default, I just provided my login name, password. This one is the user ID, first name, last name, and email ID. That's it. And I registered it. In real time, you won't have access to a identity provider. As this is something freely available over here for testing purpose, we can use it. In real time, you will be interacting with only the administrator, Unix or Windows admin for this. Okay. Now, in our case, this is the key parameter. If I put this user, then it will check if in ServiceNow this exists. There should be a user in ServiceNow with this email ID for everything to work. I have created a single user called this Pankaj. This is the user ID. This is the email ID. We are going to validate based on strictly the email ID. In real time, it will be user ID. But by default, the SSO circle over here gives us this behavior. So let us check first what to do, what are the steps do we follow. Now, see the behavior, what I did. This is our instance B. If I hit this, see what happens. It went to the identity provider login page. I am saying I am not a robot. It may ask for username and password, and I am in. Did I put anything? ServiceNow username password? No. And I am in. Let me log out. The first time you log in, it will ask for the username and password of the present over here. Based on this, it will authenticate. See this login page. Okay. So if I put it again like this, again it took me to the identity provider login page and I am logging in. Hope you people can hear me, Kalyani.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you understand the behavior what is happening? I hit the URL of ServiceNow. It takes me to the login page of the identity provider. It doesn't even ask me for username and password. This is the behavior. How did I implement it? I'll show you step by step. I can disintegrate it, but then this doesn't function properly. We have to contact SSO Circle team to delete the orphan entries. Otherwise, it will not allow us to integrate again. That's the reason I have kept this preserved this integration to show you. First thing, Enable the plugin integration hyphen multiple provider single sign-on. How to enable the plugin? Navigate to plugins like this, system definition plugins, and at the right hand side you would see the list of all the plugins available in the system. If you don't have the plugin enabled, click on request plugin. It would direct you to the Hi portal. Now what is a Hi portal? Hi portal is something when we purchase ServiceNow, when we are a partner of ServiceNow, we are the customer of ServiceNow. Okay, so they will give us a valid contract ID, a valid support ID, using which we can create tickets using Hi portal. For now, these are the available plugins. I want to search SSO. See, already installed. 2 days back I installed it. That's the reason it is saying install. Otherwise, it will install. This is grayed out as it is already installed. It took me 5 minutes for installation. This plugin needs to be there in the system. Otherwise, you won't see the SSO entries over here. When you type in SSO, it will not display SSO related modules over here. If I don't have, I have to request a plugin. See, hi.servicenow.com. Whenever you have to raise any kind of ticket, not just related to SSO plugin or any other plugin, along with plugin, if you have any other thing, a critical priority ticket or something for which you don't know what is the root cause, production hours, just raise a ticket to ServiceNow using Hi portal. Now this won't take us to any valid page because ours is a dummy instance. We don't have a support valid contract ID. That's the reason. So forget about it. See, you are not logged in a login session. See where it is taking us. It won't take us anywhere. It will error out. So forget about that. Here you will put your username and password given by ServiceNow, and then you can create a ticket. That's what I'm trying to explain you. See, sign in with your ServiceNow ID. We don't have because we are not a customer currently. We are using the sample instance. Otherwise, I'll put in the email password and then go ahead and request for the plugin. I'll write I want so and so plugin because the plugins are chargeable. That's the reason we have to go officially. All right. In dummy instance, we can simply install over here for testing purpose. Okay. That's the reason we have an install button over here. Cool. After enabling the plugin, what next? After registering in SSO Circle, which I showed you how to register, go to the page, manage metadata, SSO Circle public metadata, and copy the XML of the identity provider. First step is to this page. Copy the metadata of identity provider. See, when we say two people are friends, what does it mean? Two people are best friend. Two person. Is it that only the first person knows about the second person? No. The second person also knows about the first person. They trust each other. Why? They have the identity of each other. They know each other very well. So in our context, it is in terms of the metadata. If two parties know each other, they trust each other, the metadata of the first party should be present with the second party. Similarly, the metadata of the second party should be present with the first party. Only then they will be able to communicate using metadata XML. And that's what we are going to do. We will go to the identity provider. We will extract, we will obtain its XML, its information, and then we will import it to ServiceNow so that they know each other. And then going ahead, we will go to ServiceNow identity provider. We will extract ServiceNow metadata and we will configure it in identity provider. Once we do this and save, they will be able to communicate each other. So from where to do this? over here. SSO Circle public metadata. Come here. Where that gone? We closed it. SSO Circle. You can also test it. Register here. It won't take, hardly it will take 2 minutes for registration. See, I have configured these things. So what it is saying, go to manage metadata, SSO Circle identity public identity provider metadata. It is saying go here. See, this metadata file, just copy it. This is the complete information of this identity provider. It is saying copy it, go to the identity provider, sorry, the ServiceNow instance. Okay, close this now. Okay, go over here. See, once I enable the plugin, I will be able to see all these things. If you do it in your instance, you won't be able to locate these things, these items. Okay, then what to do? Click on new, do it SAML, most commonly used, and then I didn't click anything. It will display a dialog box like this. Click on XML, paste the copied XML of the third party, click on OK. This will error out. Why? Because I already did it 2 days back. See, it will error out. It should. See, what did it say in the background? Duplicate entry already exists. Now I will show you that entry. So I want to show you that once I paste the metadata and click on import, it will auto populate everything. Everything over here will be auto populated. All the information of this SSO circle will be auto populated over here. You just have to save it. I will show you my record. It is this, the second one, this one. See, it populated everything like this. Okay, what is the next step? Once this is done, we will import, we will right click, save it, and then going ahead, I want to, what did I say? Identity provider metadata I have saved. But how about sharing my ServiceNow metadata file with the identity provider so that he can configure over there? Generate metadata of ServiceNow. See, this is ServiceNow metadata. Copy, Control C. What does the next step suggest? What to do? Go to ServiceNow PC, generate metadata, copy it. Then come to SSO Circle, generate new service provider, paste the copied XML. Come here, it says, like here. Let me go back. Add a new service provider. Service provider is ServiceNow. Click on it. See, I have added it. So that's the reason why it is showing over here. I first clicked on this. Then I provided the FQDN of my instance, which is this. Only the FQDN, a fully qualified domain name of the instance. In real time, it will be something else, which will have the company name or something. This is our sample instance. Then paste it over here. ServiceNow metadata pasted, and then I say submit. Here it will error out because we already have submitted one. Correct. See, it already exists. After submit, it will just show success and it will add an entry over here like this. If I go again, manage metadata, see, it will add an entry. Initially this area will be blank, but once I go to add new service provider and add it successfully, an entry will be created. This is our instance, right? This 70. 570. It is configured over here. Now both the parties, the service provider and identity provider, both know each other. How? Because I have exchanged the metadata files. This SSO circle metadata lies with ServiceNow. We have saved it. Similarly, we generated a metadata of ServiceNow and saved it over here. Now they can communicate. Now let us see what next. After configuring this, go to the user table. Okay, whatever single user we have created in SSO circle. Okay, whatever single user we have created in the SSO circle. In real time, there will be n number of users in the SSO circle. For now, there is just one. Whatever user we have created, let's make sure at least one user. There is a user in user table which has got the same email ID. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go here, close users table. See, I think I have, let us check. Pankaj, starting with Pankaj. See, what did I do? Administrator, I updated the email ID, double clicked on it, and I put my email ID. So when SSO circle tries to identify, validate, it will get this user. Okay, so then what next? Go to ServiceNow IDP record. Okay, test connection, activate and save. The saved record, this one, identity provider, which we saved. Where is it? The middleman, this one. It will not be active unless we do test connection. When we do test connection, it will open this. This is how we locally test. Whenever we click on test connection, it should open the third party identity provider's login page. So here username, while registering in the SSO, I put this. So I will log in as this, and then I log in. What happened? It is down or something. Nav.do this.do. Maybe if, I have already done test connection. That's the reason. When it activates for the first time, see, activate button will be visible once I test it successfully, and then I will have to click on activate button. There will be a button over here. Once I click on test connection and give the identity provider's username and password, it will show success. It will show me activate button over here. I will click on activate and then it will become active. This checkbox will be checked. Otherwise, it will be unchecked. So unless we test it successfully, this won't be checked. So even I can deactivate it. Okay. So these are the steps we need to follow. And for this particularly doing the SSO, we have to remove from external logout redirect, remove this external logout complete.do will be there somewhere. I have already removed it. External logout URL, see here. Here it was containing some value by default. The value was this. I removed it. So for testing it locally, we have to remove this. Okay. So after doing everything, What next? Things are configured. Then on the IDP record in ServiceNow, auto redirect. Click this related link. Here you should see auto redirect. Why this is unset? Because I have already clicked on it. Let's do like this. See, set as auto redirect. Click on it. This is that step to enable SSO. And after doing that, what is the next step? ServiceNow go to sys properties and set glide authenticate SSO property. In ServiceNow we have properties and locate SSO redirect. Go to sys properties. How to go to sys properties? Like this. Sys underscore properties underscore list dot to. These are the system properties. So let's search for SSO. Where is wildcard? There are many entries with SSO. I'll sort it out like this. See, SSO redirect. I set its value to this. And what is this? This is, let's open this property. This is the sys ID of the identity provider that we configured. This value is the sys ID of the identity provider that I configured recently. So if I open this in a new tab, let me show you. We'll go to the identity provider record. Open. We know how to see, how to find the sys ID of a record. This itself is a record. Go to copy sys ID, paste it somewhere over here. It should match that CBB1 this string. Does it match? See, exactly the whole string. This ID is equal to this ID. That's how this is one of the steps to enable SSO. We do auto redirect, we go to system properties, we set this ID, and then finally go to administration, SSO administration, and enable SSO. There is a checkbox. Where is it? SSO. Do you see properties? Let's see. See, enable multi-provider SSO. I have checked it, and that's the reason in this instance, whenever I hit the URL, it takes me to the identity provider at any point of time during troubleshooting or anything. If you want to disable in a second the SSO integration, come here, uncheck it and save. It's done. Uncheck it, save, disintegrated, disabled temporarily. There is no need to go to each and every step to delete the identity provider entry. No. Temporary disabling, disable it from here, and then if I do like this, and then going ahead, if I clear my browser history and hit the URL, it should not take me to the identity provider. ServiceNow should authenticate me. Let's try. I have hit we are back to normal. See, it didn't go to the identity provider. If I clear the browser history now and hit the URL again, it will ask me for username and password, ServiceNow username and password. The regular login page that we see will be visible. This is how we configure SSO. You may take a screenshot of this. This much is important. Okay. SSO means putting an additional thing, an authenticator for ServiceNow users. ServiceNow won't authenticate the user. It is the identity provider, third party, which will authenticate and tell it to the service provider, which is ServiceNow. And this is the valid user, allow it to use your system. In simple terms, like that. Any confusion, any query, in real time, you would not be doing this. Such things are implemented already when we lay the foundation, but just wanted to give you a knowledge. This is an advanced thing which you won't be doing on routine basis, but it's always good to have knowledge. Kalyani and Dipali got some idea about this?
Yes,
Swaraj,
Mr.
okay, fine. It's all about exchange of metadata, nothing more than that. So now, next, uh, something related to, let me close all these things, LDAP, close this, and come to our regular instance, which is 16. Where is it? It is this. Now, we are not in an organization, right? As I said, these are some topics which we will be able to see, but we won't be able to try out actually. Now, if I say I have an Active Directory and an organization, what is an Active Directory? It's a repository which contains all the users present in the organization. Whenever an employee joins the company, the first entry is made in the Active Directory. But then these applications like ServiceNow, Remedy, whatever, these also contains the users. So usually we don't manually create such user. We have to ask the HR, did we onboard any new user today so that I can create it in ServiceNow? No, we build an integration, AD integration, whenever something is created in the Active Directory on a routine basis, regular interval, periodically, that will be synced to ServiceNow. How? On a scheduled basis. Go here, LDAP, create a new server. We don't have a real-time server, so we won't be able to test it. I'll show the steps. Create a new server, Active Directory. More information. What is this server name? Who will give us the server name? The Windows administrator. An arbitrary name that will be displayed in the list. Take it, give some name like Swaraj LDAP server. I want to display this name in my list. This will be shared by the administrator. An arbitrary name, I believe. See, this will display in the list recorded if you will have multiple. Okay, this is something we can define. ServiceNow people. This is something Windows admin, whoever is the administrator of the Active Directory, will share us. Why it is 389? This is a default port of LDAP 389. That's the reason it is mentioned. So in real time, it will be something shared by the admin, whatever company name or anything, the name of the actual URL of the Active Directory. Okay. Then this will also be shared by the administrator. We don't have to worry about anything. Starting search directory. The users are stored in the directory. See, something like this. Such string will be shared by the administrator. It tells how to search for the user, where to search for the user. We put all these things and we submit it. I don't think it will allow us to submit because let's see. Okay, we can submit it from here. What did we put? Search string. This, we give a name. This shared by admin. This shared by admin. Submit it. It should give an error even if we submit. Okay. Based on the data we gave it. Okay. It's configured this thing. This is ready. But then this is the actual name which will be shared by the administrator. Name of the Active Directory server. Login distinguished name. Server name of the Active Directory. Let it be pkj server AD, whatever. This will also be shared by the administrator. See, here we are just doing the configuration job. The administrator is giving us all the details so that we can connect to the LDAP directory from ServiceNow. And now if I save it, it will give an error because these entries doesn't exist in real sense. It should give an error. Didn't see. It tried to connect to this which doesn't exist, right? But in real time, when you give all the valid information, it will save. Again, see, Midserver again came into picture. We will select a valid Midserver. I told you Midserver is something we'll be able to install when we are in a company where we have no constraints for installation on our laptop. On your personal instance, you can try to install. In many cases, we have seen it is possible. Okay. Select a valid Midserver. Why do we need a Midserver? ServiceNow is cloud-based. This is a cloud instance. Active Directory is present in the organization. This is HTTPS. URL maybe, may not be HTTPS. Firewall will be there in the picture. We install Midserver in the organization. Okay. The URL is not secured. So we installed Midserver in the organization. We configured this URL, ServiceNow URL, in that Midserver, and that's how they interact. So select a valid Midserver. If the URL is totally public, available over internet, which is usually not the case. But in case if it is available, then Midserver won't be required. It's like that. Okay. So once we save these things, how smart ServiceNow is. Once this is saved, see what ServiceNow does. I'll go to LDAP servers. Did it make an entry? Yes. See, open it and then see what all things ServiceNow has smartly configured automatically. I'll scroll down and then we realize that the transformations are already done. They are ready. For users, it created a transformation. For groups are also present in the Active Directory. So for if you want to sync the user, this is the transformation. See, let me open this. Everything. Source, target, you will see everything. OU definition, organizational unit definition. See, data source. Open it. You will have the source table and the target table, mappings and all. Transformation automatically created. We didn't do anything. It's only if we want to modify any mapping, we can do it. See, import set table automatically created. Where is the mapping? Transform map. Target table sys underscore user. Source table automatically created. Target table automatically taken as this user. System understands everything. Even it would have created, I'll show you. Slow down. Yeah. Everything. You know well how transformation works. Source table, target table. We can write a script. We can do the mappings, field maps, username, user ID is unique. So police is true. It has done everything. See, Active Directory, in Active Directory, first name attribute is given name. In Active Directory, the last name is SN. Similarly, SAM account name is the user ID name in ServiceNow. Unique name that identifies an employee, a person. Principal name is email. So that's how smartly it has mapped everything. We don't have to do anything. If there is anything like Active Directory has an additional custom attribute that we want to bring in into ServiceNow, in that case, we can modify this, add one new entry, right? That's how it is. So now that it has built everything for users as well as groups, there is something called scheduled jobs. And see, for user import, it created a separate job. For groups import, it created. Did we do anything? No. It created everything automatically based on the AD we configured. It is so simple. Mostly dependent on the Windows admin. If all the information provided is correct, it will start working. The job is not active, we will have to make it active. We will have to check on this, and then we will have to give everything this. If we want to execute pre-import script, we can write it right over here. Concurrent import, check. Running a concurrent import may increase the processing speed. That's why we do it, right? So if there is data in lakhs, right, we will tell it do it concurrently. So it has its own method, round robin and all. It will do it like that. Usually we don't do because the number of users created on daily basis are handful, right? So we won't need it. So that's how it is. We give the date and time, see, weekly, monthly, periodical schedule job. You already know. Everything is linked this way, and then it will do it. Usually do it on daily basis, post business hours, and save it. And the job executes. It connects to the Active Directory. It sees the data. It imports the data. This is how it is. If there is something already existing in Active Directory and ServiceNow, then in that case, I showed you the transformation. Coalesce is set to true. Same account name will be matched to the user ID and that record will be updated. It won't be created again. That's how it is. AD integration. LDAP people sing. Whatever on daily basis gets created in Active Directory will be synced to the ServiceNow user table. If for an existing user email ID, suppose it is updated, that that user is also present in ServiceNow, Coalesce will be true, then the record will be updated with the email ID. The record won't be created again. It's like that. This is how we do AD integration. So, yeah. Are you clear with the concepts? Kalyani, Dipali, Swaraj, what do we do? What is Active Directory? What does it contain? It contains the users and the groups. Contains all those information. If Pankaj is a user who is the manager of Pankaj, all such information is configured when Pankaj is onboarded in a company. This is how it is. Understood? Dipali, Kalyani.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine, fine. Now that we saw many things, right? I showed you one dummy application we built, inventory, this, that. So let's take an example, a simulation of a real-time example, a small application. I will explain you so that you will be very much confident how it works real time. So I have built something called Mediclaim Workforce Management. Let me show you the form. This will be very much helpful to you. Mediclaim. This is my application, Workforce Management. What is the main purpose of Mediclaim Workforce Management application? It has been built to do the routing of the Mediclaim records. So, Mediclaim Mediclaim workloads, Mediclaim workforce management, this one. See, these are the claims. Let me open a sample claim. See, claim ID auto generated. How? Brush up, a quick brush up. How this is auto generated? Right click, configure, table, we have set it to auto number, and that's the reason whenever I click on new, it will auto increment. Somewhere we saw here that auto numbering is present. Where is that auto number? See, from here it should auto increment. So currently it is not, so maybe I'm giving it manually. Ideally it should auto increment from here. Let us go back to it. Okay, when I click on new, let us see if it auto generates or not. No, we can do it. I showed you how to auto generate, right? Next, what is it? Claim submitter, the person who submitted the claim. Suppose I am the support person. I work on the claims. I handle the calls. A person called me. I created a new claim for that person, or the person emailed me and I created a new claim. I gave him a claim ID. That person's name, like incident caller, I will select the claim submitter name. Pankaj reported me. I put Pankaj's name over here. Pankaj has raised a claim. Pankaj is the customer. Contact person. Who was the contact person for Pankaj? It is this. On behalf of Pankaj, who reported? If we have that person, put it. It may be same. Claim submitter, contact person. Hospital expenses. The bills that he gave. 1 lakh, suppose. These are my expenses I want to reimburse. I'm assigning this claim to internally my staff who works on the claim. Sanisha. Medical expenses, these many. If you have ever submitted a claim, there will be hospital expenses, there will be medical expenses. Hospitalization date, I'll ask to this person or this person. I'll put it in the system. I am the agent. I am interacting with the end user or the customer who is trying to raise a claim because that person was hospitalized. And now after recovery, he's calling me. Raise a claim, I want to get it reimbursed. That's the process over here. We're trying to understand. So then, how does it work? If I submit a new one like this, okay, CLM, suppose this. Then, if I put the hospitalization date as he was hospitalized on 1st of September, suppose, and the date of discharge, if I put it as old, let us see, does it validate? Because this is invalid. How can a person hospitalize and discharge like this? Date of discharge should be greater than date of hospitalization. And some command. Let us see how does it work. I checked it long back. See, real time. This is how you would do. How this message was thrown, date of hospitalization cannot be greater than date of discharge. From here, open a duplicate session. Where is it? I have written a business rule on this table to read the values of date of hospitalization and date of discharge. I will check them, I'll compare them and show you. Table Mediclaim. What is the name? No. Click on all. Now, does it show our name? Mediclaim MED. No. Sort them by updated. Do we have updated? No. This is how we sort. Bring it here so that we can see it. Update it. Sort it. Now, do we see most of the see Mediclaim workforce management? Right click, show matching, and it will show me the business rules that belong to only this table. So check date function executed before saving the record on Mediclaim table. This rule executed, and this is how you write the logic, a script, small script to do date validation. Before update, it will trigger. See what I'm doing. Glide record, like glide record, we also have glide date time. We pass current dot hospitalization date as a parameter. Current dot date of discharge. Current means this. Store it in start and end. If hospitalization date is greater than date of discharge, gs dot add error message. Okay, it is like that. It will error out. And so we get this message. This is how it is. What next? I'll go over here again, and this time let us give a valid data. So if I click on this, did you see? This is saved, right? Just now we created. Why did it save? Because there is a bug over here. Let me show you. Ideally, it should not save. It got saved. I missed something over here. That's the reason it got saved. It should not never be return false in a business rule. We use return false in client scripts. Here it should be what was it? Set abort action. Once I showed you, right? Where is that add info message? Set abort or something. Set property set user. Include user ID, name, property. If it is not listed, to check the syntax, let us. This is how you find current dot. Okay, we have to do current dot. Okay, fine. Not gs dot, obviously. Current set abort action. I want to abort the record in this case, so I will write true and I will remove this line. That's it. So if this condition is passed, don't save the record. And we are done. That's how it is. So now if I submit any, let us open this. See, suppose date of hospitalization 1st September and date of discharge, I'll give some old date, August, which is invalid. Now it should not save the record. See, invalid insert means when it comes, when we set abort action as true. Now it will not save this record. Right? Let's go back to confirm. See, it didn't save. This is how it is. And then what about the other business rules that I have written? There are two more. What is their function? Oh, business rules. Right click, show matching. See, now notify approval, I'll show you later. Auto routing. Once the record is submitted successfully in this table, then who will work on the Mediclaim? That will be auto populated. It will be decided dynamically by the system based on this script. Auto assignment of work. Why I have created this example real-time simulation of auto routing. If there are 10 agents in the company to resolve the claims, to work on the claims, then in that case, it will be assigned the new claim, incoming claim will be assigned based on the workload. What is this workload table? It is this agent workload. I have created this table and I have stored such dummy values. Sanisha, 1 claim assigned. Rahul, 2 claims assigned. Sachin, 3 claims assigned. Currently, real time. These are the number of claims the person is working on. Who has got the least load? Sunny. He is working on just 1 claim. So if anything comes in, give him. And that's the thing this script is doing. How? First, create a glide aggregate. It's like a glide record. Whenever we want to find something like minimum, maximums, anything from a table, we create a glide aggregate on that table. Specify the table name. Then declare temporary variables. Then see what I'm doing. I have given the reference of this table. min is the keyword. Minimum ticket assigned count. Find out the minimum ticket assigned count from this table. Min is a keyword. Ticket assigned count is the column name. Column name. Let me open one. I'll show it is the column name of this table. It is this. Right click. See, ticket assigned count. Give me the ticket assigned count value, which is the minimum is in this table, is what this is doing. And then query. If it gets the result, store that count over here in this local variable. So it will store 1. Now, if it is 1, again query the same table with glide record. Give me a record where the count is 1 and then take the agent name. Then query, it will give you the whole record. First, what did we do? We extracted the minimum ticket count. Then from the same table, I did a glide record to get that whole record. Why? Because I want to find out who is the agent who has been assigned with this minimum count, who is working on that. Query, get his name. gr.query will give the whole record. If we got the record, current dot assigned to equal to gr.agent name. Whoever is present over here, that person agent name, put it in the current dot assigned to. What is current dot assigned to? Current dot assigned to means current dot assigned to. This table assigned to, set it dynamically. It is this current dot assigned to equal to whatever agent we got from this table, and update. So here, while creating the Mediclaim, we are not manually putting in the ticket assigned to person, the agent. It is automatically given to this person. Let us try. We will not give assigned to person now. Okay. Like I'll go here. Let us see if it works. I will click on new and I will give some claim ID, claim submitter, contact person, expenses. Assigned to I will not give, medical expenses, hospitalization date. This time let us give something valid. The person was hospitalized last month, 4th, sorry, 31st of August, and was discharged on 2nd of September. Now if I submit, let us give something good. CLM 90979797, just to recognize PKG. Copy this and then submit this. And if I submit, will it see? How did Sanisha come? The business rule executed. The control came here. This business rule executed, it passed because the dates are correct. The next business rule after insert executed, which is this. The control came here. It referred to this table which stores the workload in the backend. We made a glide aggregate. We told the table, this is the keyword. This is the column name of this table. This table's column name is this ticket assigned count. We are telling find out the minimum ticket count from this column. So it was 1, we saw. There were 3 entries and the minimum was 1. It gave that number 1 stored in this local variable. 1. This returned 1 stored in this variable. Now we are querying the same table but this time with glide record. Why? To extract the record which has got 1 against it. Add query ticket assigned count is 1. This password here. It gave me the whole record. And then I am writing current. Current means current this. And this current means this table's current. Dot assigned to, set it to the agent name that is extracted from workload table and then update. As it is after insert, we are doing current dot update. Means after creation of a record, update it with the automatically dynamically extracted agent's name. This is how we do this business rule, and that's how it generated this based on this backend form. It referred to this backend form. It checked who is having the least workload and then picked up exactly that person and put it over here. Getting? It's like that. Then what next? Suppose I approve it. Now this Sanisha started working on it. What is the business rule about the third one? Business rules. Show matching. Notify approval. Okay, what is this about? See, when would it trigger? After update, if the status is set to approved by the agent, this will trigger. After insertion, after update of the record, that is, once the status is changed to approved, trigger this business rule. And what does it contain? Event queue. So what is this event about? It must have triggered an email. Like if I do it like this, approved, save, it should trigger an email. Email logs should have an entry. System logs email. Did you see? Created on today. Claim approved. See? Your claim has been approved. It will be settled in 10 working days. And now let us open that notification. To whom we are trying to send it should be this. Let us open to confirm. I'll go to business rules. In the business rule, we have given the event name. We will search for that event. Coming up. So this is how real time everything works. Auto assignment, everything. In the interviews, you people can say this. You can tell such scenarios, right? You have worked on this. Event queue function is this. This is the event name. Let us search for this event. Event registry. This is all the brush up we are doing using a simulation. What was that? Event registry. Search for it. All events. Give our event name. It is this on workforce management table. Open. What is it doing? Okay. Event name is this. So there must be some notification created which would be using this event name. Let us go to notification. Notifications. All. Find out all the notifications created on workforce management table, which is this. Show matching, and this would be the only one, I believe. See, Mediclaim notify contact person. So I was correct. We are notifying to the contact person who called us and told to raise the claim, or who emailed us and told us to raise the claim. And who will receive the notification? It will be this person, contact person. We specify from here, notify the contact person about the approval of the claim is submitted through the agent. This is how it is. What you can do, write a similar business rule for auto assignment, trigger such notification. Even for rejection, try to trigger an event, build a separate notification on rejection, right? This is what you people can do. One more thing you people can try out, I'll show you. In the business rule, I have kept something for you. Right click, show matching, auto approve, auto routing. See, whenever I am picking up the person having the least workload, least number of tickets, I am assigning the ticket, the incoming claim to that particular person. But am I incrementing his ticket load in the business rule? No. That is something you people can try out. So that the next claim comes in, it will not be that person every time. Because now Sanisha, it was one, increment his count to one, because we are just assigning him a ticket, a count, a claim. So from one, make it to two, his current workload. That is something you can try out. Very easy. You may take a screenshot of this. This is how it looks. And over here in this table, workflow workforce management, what was the name? Mediclaim. Okay. This table I was saying, when it refers, does the glide aggregate and it returns one. And for now, it will return one every time because one is the least value, and it will always go to Sanisha. But when it goes to Sanisha, again refer to this table, do glide record, and immediately increment it to plus one. So now he has got the count as 2. Next time it will come, you have to implement some logic. If it is 2, 2, then whom to take, randomly take one. Ideally, ideal scenario, take the least value. So over the period of time, if Sunny becomes 4, it should be auto assigned to someone else. Automatically through scripting, this will become 4. See, I have manually done it. If now I do it, it will go to Rahul Roy. Let's see. Because 2 is the least value. He is having the least workload. This is what I am trying to explain you. So if now I go over here, create a new one. No, we will not select this. It was one discharge today. Now it should not be Sanisha. This is what my understanding says. See, very much handy. Keep this with you. The business rule, auto routing, it has got a good logic. Okay. So this is how workforce management. We used two tables. One to store the agent workload in the backend. One is the main table the agents use to work on the claims. We saw notification, we saw event registry, business rule to validate the hospitalization date. This is a mini application kind of thing which you can start and enhance. Workforce management. This is how it is. All right. Any confusion around this? Kalyani, Dipali, Swaraj.
No, sir.
One more thing. I showed you how to create a custom workflow. What do you think? Can't you attach a workflow to this? Here I am doing it as status as approved. You can take something as waiting for approval, add a choice. We know how to add a choice. Configure dictionary, go to add a choice, add a choice. Then go to workflow editor, create a new workflow on this table, run workflows always, and then I showed you how to decide the flow. Send it for approval. Set the status as waiting for approval. Set it over here from the workflow itself. Workflow driven thing can also be done. Everything can be done from here. This is a mini version, but you can enhance it. Build a workflow, send it to approval. I have given in the notification whom to send the notification. You can set it through the workflow. Take a notification box, the activity, select the contact person over there. There also it is accessible, those fields. I showed you already all those things, right? That's how ServiceNow applications work. See, when we say an application, it's not like a Windows application like if I open a notepad over here, I see like this, file, edit. These are Windows based application. ServiceNow is not meant to be right used for such application. What do we build? What kind of application we build in ServiceNow? State based model we say. State based model. If we see incident, suppose incident, open. Open any record. What does it say? State based model. New, in progress, resolved. These are the states. So where does it apply? Infrastructure management, claim management, anything, LIC insurance management, education sector, how the people use it? They people use it in their infrastructure. If any parent or any student there is a ticket, they have this thing, ServiceNow. Student management system, student query management system. There the people have a state, resolved, in progress, this, that. Do we have anything like file menu, this menu? Nothing. It is very simple. We won't have this Windows based GUI available. We cannot build like this, right? So don't try to compare it with other Windows based application like we do it in Visual Basic. Visual Basic, we put a menu, right? We cannot do all these things. Like I think even in BMC Remedy, there is a provision to add a character menu or something which resembles this thing, something like that. I remember I built it long back. But such things don't expect it from ServiceNow. Okay, ServiceNow has kept it simple, right? And wherever we want to put buttons, we can put the button using UI action like this, n number of buttons. Whenever we want to keep anything near the fields, we built a UI macro. It is this, right? If so many things are possible, why to go for such Windows-based approach, right? So ServiceNow is meant to be used for state-based models, mostly ticketing and all. Okay, so this is how it is. This is now ServiceNow is about these custom applications, out-of-the-box applications, everything. Now one thing, an overview, just a basic 5 to 10 minutes. CMDB, Configuration Management Database. What is it? Uh, in an organization, laptop, desktop, CPU, hard disk, router, switch, any network device, operating system, MS Office Suite, MS Office 2003, 2007, 2010, software products, hardware products, which have a financial cost associated with it, which are being used in the organization. They are all configuration items. Hardware, software, configuration items. When we say that record has got financial value associated with it, it becomes an asset. That's the difference. Asset and CI are more or less the same, but when we see the additional attributes of a CI, like what is the cost, what is the licensing and all, it becomes an asset. That is the difference between a CMDB and asset. So, what are the main tables of CMDB? CMDB main tables are, let me show you over here. I will share you this guide. If you have interest in ITOM, you can go through this guide uh, as a starting point, and then if you get it, I'm sure you'll be able to explore it ahead. Okay, I'll show you what is discovery and all. We'll spend some 10 to 15 minutes on this. Okay, I think it is already opened. Yeah, it is there. Close this. See, what is CMDB? Configuration Management Database. It is an ITL database. ITL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library. It is a set of guidelines, best practices to be followed, right, for applications. Used by an organization to store hardware and software assets. Information about hardware and software assets. See, even the relationship between the configuration items can be stored. Like if there is a whole computer system, okay, then what are the parts, how they are associated, right? Everything, the relationship between the components is stored over here. Serial number, this, that, right? Asset number, asset ID. What are the main tables in ServiceNow CMDB? This is the topmost. Interview question. CMDB underscore CI actually stores most of the things. This is for non-technical CIs. CMDB CI extends the CMDB table. We store the CIs over here. CMDB underscore REL underscore CI is the one that defines relationship between the CIs. Right? See, base configuration item table, which is the core table of CMDB for non-IT CIs. This stores the actual CIs, basic attributes for all the CIs. CI relationship. How does it look? It is impossible for you to remember this model. Have this guide handy, keep this handy for future. So that if someone tells you to create a new attribute for some table, then how to access that sum table? See, this accessory, there is a space over here. That means this is the child of this. These are at same level. These both are child of this. This yet comes over here. This one is a child of this. Under application, what all tables do we have? .NET. Under .NET, there is a space over here. These. This and this are at same level. Same level. WebSphere comes under IBM. This is how they have built the model. Inheritance concept, same that we do in BMC Remedy, that we do in Java. There is a class, vehicle, P, draw true branches out of it, two-wheeler, four-wheeler. But then why there is a vehicle class? Registration number, which is common between the vehicles, two-wheeler or four-wheeler. That is a common attribute that will be stored in the vehicle class so that both the child tables can inherit it. And there is no need to create registration number field in both the classes separately. Leverage, create once, use it, reuse it in the child classes is what we follow everywhere. See, these are the classes, some 500 I believe. You can refer to this guide. I'll share it with you tomorrow after our session. See, this is how it is. What is the name of the computer system table? Sometimes in the interview, they people ask. just to check at least you have basic understanding of CMDB. See, when they will call what item, they will separately write we are hiring for item, and this comes under item. Okay, item is a separate track. I just want to give you a basic knowledge. What is it? Okay, so computer, is it there? Where is it? Computer system table, CMDB CI computer is the name of computer system table. Can we locate it in our instance? Let's try. Copy. I have CMDB enabled. I go pen to plugin and I enable CMDB plugin. If you do it, I don't think you will be able to see. Or if I write it as computer, see, computers. How many computers are there? It would be 0. Why? We haven't created any CI. Create a new CI, computer CI. It will ask for everything. Name, which I'll put it as a host name, asset tag, manufacturer, HP, Dell, whoever, domain, operating system, which is there on this computer, everything, company, serial number, model ID assigned to RAM. See, we can have thousands of computer systems. When I say a class, CMDB computer CI class, it can have its thousands of instances records. So, how to find out the actual name of computer system class? New, right click, configure and table name. What does that mean? Each class mentioned in that PDF is a separate table, a regular table that we have been creating so far. Right? See, CMDB CI computer is what we have mentioned over here in the PDF. Each class is a separate table in ServiceNow. What kind of table? The same table. See, it shows it extends hardware table. So as per the PDF, do we see like that? See, yes, these are at the same level. These all extend hardware. Parent of this is hardware. This may have its own parent table somewhere. The hierarchy. This is what it is. Getting? So inheritance classes. There are many such classes. Base items. See, base items all server. You can have server CIs under this and number of records. Computer system, workstation, network, printer, a separate table to store all the printers available in the network, communication devices, IP phone, everything, software CIs, software CIs. We can create it like this. Name, version, manufacturer, Microsoft version, whatever, 2010, 11, 12, MS Office, is that part of some other CI, right? Everything is like that. So, in short, we saw these things. Now, if there are thousands of CIs in an organization, is it I am a fool to go to each table manually, find out manually all the CIs and then click on new button and store? No, I'm not going to do it one by one. It will never end this way. I want everything to be dynamic. I want some network monitoring tool to be there in my organization who will keep on searching, who will keep on scanning. What all CIs do I have in the organization? Scan it automatically. And if it found something, automatically it will store to the CMDB in the respective table. If it is a computer system, it will go to this table. So what that application is, there can be many. One of the most commonly used is discovery. Discovery. How does discovery run? It runs in phases. Let me show you. See, what is discovery? A ServiceNow discovery application finds application and devices on your network and then updates the CMDB with the information it finds. Most important theoretical part, they might ask probes and sensors. Whenever discovery application triggers the discovery job, discovery application has got a number of discovery jobs scheduled. If a job runs, it triggers a probe. Probe. Discovery belongs to ServiceNow Cloud. It wants to search and search CIs present in an organization. The CIs are private, confidential. Why they would expose it to discovery service now? So that's the again then we'll have to use Midserver for communication. So when we create a discovery job, we will specify the Midserver again. So what are the areas where we have seen Midserver application being used? Web service integration, discovery, LDAP, everywhere where ServiceNow is interacting with organizational confidential data. We have used Midserver, right? So how this would interact? Discovery application will trigger a probe, find out all the devices which have, find out all the active ports in the organization. It cannot interact directly as it is outside on cloud. It will trigger a probe, write it to the external communication channel. Midserver will come into picture. And then from there, Midserver will read what is there in the output queue. It wants us to find out all the active ports present in the organization. Then Midserver will read it, find out everything. It will write it to the input queue. From there, ServiceNow Discovery will read it. Okay, these are all the active ports in the organization 135, 22, 389, whatever. And then based on it, sensors will act. Probes bring in the data from the organization through the Midserver. Sensors based on the inputs, based on the information pulled in by probes, sensors update the data in CMDB. These are all codes, these are scripts. Sensors and probes are actually scripts. Probes interact and bring in data from the organization, and then sensors read the data from the probes and write it to CMDB. Sensors based on the probes decide if a CI needs to be created in CMDB or it already exists and it needs to be updated in CMDB. This is what sensors decide. A probe is triggered by discovery, which in turn tells the Midserver to launch the probe to detect ports and other CI details in an organization. A sensor reads the data that is brought in into ServiceNow by the probe and updates it to CMDB. This is how it works. See, Midserver communicate via external communication channel that I showed you once, few sessions back. Midserver and ServiceNow communicate via ECC. When discovery job starts, it first writes to the ECC output queue. Discovery service now means the same in this context. They will write put to the output queue. Give me all the active ports present in the organization. Midserver reads the data from this output queue and triggers the Shazam probe. Shazam is the first probe the discovery triggers and tells the Midserver to trigger it in the organization. So the Midserver will trigger it, get all the active ports and give it into the input queue. Input queue. The discovery process reads from this input queue and based on the results, it decides what subsequent probes need to be triggered in the same fashion using ECC queue. Getting? Discovery job start, the first probe launched by Discovery Shazam. Right? It finds up all the active ports present in the organization. For Windows, it will be 135. For Unix, it will be 22, and so on. Many more. Probes and sensor works together like this. Midserver launches probes to collect information about a device. The probe sends back information to the sensors to be processed. If the probe has this, you can read. I will show the phases. What are the phases of discovery? As I said, the first one is Shazam probe. First is scanning phase. discovery application runs and it triggers a probe called Shazam. You may not be able to read this properly, but just try to understand what I'm trying to say. Discovery's initiate a probe called Shazam is launched to detect open port and devices in the network. The data returned is used by the Shazam sensor to identify certain characteristics about the device. Scanning, find out what all probes are present, what all open active ports are there in the organization. Give me the list. It will return. Sensors will check. Okay, it is 135, so it is smart. It must be Windows. Then trigger successive probes. Classification probe. Based on 135, it will send successive probes like classification. What type of operating system is there for that 135 port? It is Windows. But then what is the nature? What kind of application operating system is that? Give me the information. Then again, this classification probe will go bring in the information and the sensor will know, okay, it is Windows 2012 operating system. Based on it, it will again send something, identification. Identification, sensors will check if it is Windows 2000 server so and so. Does it already present in CMDB? If yes, then update it. No, then create it. Is what the identification phase is. Whatever information probes brought in to the sensor, then the sensor will check whatever probe has given me, does it already exist in the respective table? No, then create it as a new CI. Otherwise, update it. Is what identification phase is. There are 4 phases of discovery. The last one is exploration. Now that we know in the classification phase what kind of operating system it is, then also give additional information like 135 was the port. Operating system hosted was Windows 2003. But then for that system, what was the RAM? What is the configuration? What is the number of CPUs? Granular information, again, exploration phase. It will ask for all this information. Successive probes will be triggered and it will explore. It will keep on asking for additional information, triggering successive probes. The discovery will keep on triggering the probes, and the probes will tell the sensors the RAM is this much, the CPU is this much, clock speed is this much, and then accordingly sensor will update it in CMDB. This is how discovery works in phases. Okay, so that's all about. Can discovery work without Midserver? No, because it CS are present in the organization. Discovery and service now are present in on cloud. Discovery application is a part of ServiceNow platform, right? So if it is a part of ServiceNow platform, obviously it is on cloud. So we will need use. What is the table name of ECC queue? Interview question. ECC underscore queue. Whatever I said, input output queue, is all present under here. It is this ECC queue. It is this. Discovery will write in this queue. It will create a new record automatically in this table. From here, the mid server will read. Getting? From here, the mid server will read. How does the mid server know to read from this queue? When we installed the mid server in the organization, we gave this instance URL in it and the mid username and password, username and password. That's the reason it keeps on checking. Is there anything in the output queue? Yes, pick it up, read it. What does it need? And then again create a new record and write it in the output queue. Input, output, input, output. If there is a new record with input queue, then ServiceNow knows it is something for it. Read it. Something must mid server have sent something. It is like that. And that's how it works. Right? Is ECC queue used only in discovery? No. Because we saw in web service LDAP there is something called orchestration where it is used. Does publishing a web service in ServiceNow require Midserver? No, because ServiceNow is cloud-based. If I am sharing the URL with third party, mine is cloud-based. So why, right? I am not protecting anything over here. Yeah, authentication takes place. Nothing more than that. No firewall concept, right? It is cloud-based totally. So it doesn't require Midserver. Do we require Midserver when dealing with web service? Not necessary. It is not necessary. It depends on the scenario. When ServiceNow consumes a third-party web service, that is, whenever third party shares a URL with ServiceNow to consume, the mid server is only required when the third-party web service endpoint is not exposed to internet. Today, what did we see? There was a provision to specify mid server in the LDAP job, right? I said if that LDAP URL is on cloud, then there is no need to specify mid server. We can directly connect using that username and password we specify in the configuration. But then when it is behind the firewall, it's protected, then we will use the mid server. It's like that. Getting? So in ServiceNow, in short, don't get confused. Outbound web service call. When we consume a web service, we usually would need a mid server because most of the time it will be like that. The third party URLs won't be public. If it is public, no need of mid server. See, this is your network. Inside the network, we have installed mid server. These are CIs, users, LDAP entries, everything. This is organization's firewall. This is our ServiceNow discovery. They interact through mid server. This is what the picture says. Okay, this is how it is. And this is what I showed you how to install Midserver and all. I'll share you these things. If we want to dig out further, there are some pages over here which you can go through. How to configure a discovery job. If you are interested in that, I have showed in the screenshot. You can go through it. As the screenshots are there, the reconciliation and all everything is there. There is even an example. If you are interested, you can read. Otherwise, it is not as part of the course. Okay. These are all the things how we configure a discovery job. A simple example and explanation. All right. So yes, we are pretty much done. So today is 4th. So tomorrow is the last day. What I will do based on whatever things we did so far during this 20 sessions, I will come with a set of questions, not like an exam or something, just a test. Doesn't matter if you answer it or you don't answer it. You will know where do you stand currently and what do you want have to learn, right? You have to groom yourself. You have to go through all the videos, right? So I will ask you a few questions that are regularly, frequently asked in the interviews. I will share you the question list. I will ask you the question. For some of them, I'll tell you the answers, and then you will be fit for interviews. Okay. But then you have to do self grooming as well. Okay, it's not like we do the session and then we should be able to crack everything. No, go through all the 20 sessions, go through all the important question list that I'll share with you, and then you will be ready, right? So our course is almost done. Tomorrow, as I showed you about CMDB discovery, just for first 15 to 20 minutes, I'll show you what is a portal and how you can do basic things in the portal, changing the logo and all. I'll show you those things. Okay, portal is also something which is not part of this course, but 15 to 20 minutes just to give you an idea. If some real-time requirement comes in to change the logo or something, you will be able to help. You will be able to handle it. Okay. So initial 20 minutes we'll spend on portal and then question and answer session. And then we will conclude. And then you have to share your email IDs with me. I have some 15 to 20 documents with me, some tutorials. I'll share it with you. And then we will conclude on everything. All right. So tomorrow, same time, please join. I'll ask you questions. 50 to 60 questions are there. So you will get to know what sort of questions are asked in the interview and how we should answer them. All right. So don't miss tomorrow's session. It's the last session. All right. So we will stop here today. Kalyani, Dipali, Lokesh, and Swaraj. Any questions?
Nothing from my side.
Okay. Today you also saw a separate application, a working example of auto assignment and everything, right? How do we do date validation? Everything we revisited. All right. So I'll share you the link and a recording. I'll share it in the evening, and tomorrow's link I'll share it late evening. So let's meet tomorrow 10 a.m. regular timing. All right. So thank you very much for your time. Bye. I'll share the recording. I'll stop the meeting
Thank
now.
you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.